In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to improve our showed meeting rate. And we're going to be talking about how to improve the quality of prospect that dumps on our sales calls. The way that we could do this initially is if we want to increase the sheer number of volume of sales calls that we do have, we want to have email reminders, such as the business day before the meeting, we send them an email saying, hey, by the way, here's the meeting time, here's the meeting date. And by the way, if you do want to learn a little bit more about us, here's some resources that you could learn more about us on. You could share educational videos, you could share case studies, thought leadership posts, if you do have any. And then you can also reword that post 2 hours before the meeting, just to let them know that they have access to those resources prior to chatting with the sales rep. The value of this is if we share these resources, the best thing that could happen is a prospect disqualifies themselves. Because if we have in the PS line something that says, hey, by the way, if you go through the content and this is not a fit for you, feel free to cancel the meeting. We are posturing ourselves in a way that we're saying, hey, by the way, we're not begging for your business. If you don't want to meet, feel free to just cancel the meeting here, or you could reschedule to a later time in the future. This helps us make sure that we are talking to qualified prospects that are educated, that want to move forward, and we're giving people an outlet to casually say, hey, do you know what isn't a fit after they learn more about us? On the sales side of things, we are eliminating having bloated calendars from meeting prospects that will ultimately be disqualified or unqualified. And the amount of time it takes to close a prospect will be shrunken down in terms of the sales team's resources because we're not on as many sales calls. We're not repeating the same amount of information time and time again. So the value of content is we are to be able to sell while we sleep. We're getting people to love us, essentially. And it's a lot easier to get someone who likes us to love us than to get someone who doesn't even know who we are, doesn't like us initially, to ultimately like us. The other value here is that we are building trust with our prospects and we are getting ahead of most questions. The last benefit of building content, if you're using a tool like YouTube, is that you're building a direct connection with your prospects for future posts. So if you have subscribers on YouTube, you can see that I have the most popular YouTube channel on the platform. I'm joking. I think I have something like 141 subscribers. It's not a lot. But in the last month, I generated 446 views. You could almost think about this as getting ahead of 446 potential questions that a prospect might ask. My sales calls are normally 30 minutes long. So if there's 20 hours of watch time, you could almost think about this as potentially 40 hours of sales calls being saved. And in the last month, generated 30 subscribers from people that are interested in my services. So at a high level, it's possible to increase the showed meeting rate that you have if you use meeting reminders. And if you want to make sure that you're only talking to prospects that are qualified, that like what you do, and you're not talking to tire kickers, I'd recommend using content and giving people a way for them to opt out of the meeting before you have your sales rep allocate time on their calendar to meet with them. So that's the video today. Hope you have a great one and we'll chat soon. Bye.